Nationally and locally, we're in the midst of an opioid epidemic. Overdoses continue to increase, as do opioid-caused deaths.
Oh, there's a lot of blood here.
The police, from the patrol cop to those focused solely on illegal narcotics, say the demand does not appear to be slowing. One of the area's largest heroin busts is now winding its way through federal court. 14 people from Rochester and Philadelphia have pleaded guilty to roles in a drug trafficking conspiracy that spread loads of heroin across the Rochester region.
So from there, we just made a bunch of controlled buys, and as the buys and the purchases were occurring, we started to develop more intelligence that what they were selling was being sold throughout Rochester. So it was more than just a local corner group selling drugs, selling cocaine or selling heroin. They were actually distributing it throughout the city.
In recent years, Philadelphia has been a major supplier of the Rochester region heroin. Federal and local police have collaborated on 3 major busts of separate Rochester-Philly heroin networks.
It was essentially a workplace where people would be hired to come in, sit in the basement on long tables, spread out all the empty baggies, have a pile of heroin, have a stamp, and essentially fill those baggies and put them into the decks. And eventually those would be sold. They even had a shrine in the basement, which the workers and the suppliers would throw money. And it's my understanding is that is to keep off the evil spirits, but more importantly to keep law enforcement from finding the location. In this case, it didn't work for them. But these would be ultimately be packaged in shoeboxes and be brought to Rochester. So they would be put in these sleeves, and they would be put inside the trap of a car and delivered to Rochester.
The subway, go get who was in the car. Got a female black driver.
For police, wiretaps are often a crucial part of drug investigations. Eavesdropping on drug dealers allows police to know the scope of the drug trafficking network and just who is involved.
Yep.
You want me to come by?
Yep. Alright, how long you gonna be? Call me when you get on the side right there, I got you.
I'll be there in like 10 minutes. I need 10.
Alright, call me when you get on the side right there. Alright.
One wiretap showed just how huge the demand is locally for heroin. A Philadelphia supplier once dropped off $55,000 worth of heroin to a Rochester dealer. Before the supplier was even back to Philadelphia, he received a phone call from Rochester telling him all of the dope had already been sold.
And the vehicle that we took off down in Pennsylvania on the final takedown day. And as you can see here, this compartment is located in the rear passenger seat area, directly underneath the seat. The carpet matched right up to the padding of the seat, and you really couldn't identify it. The large bag has several other bags of money, one in the yellow bag, and like several smaller bags full of money.
Okay.
There's a latch inside the compartment. When the electrical current is run through there, the latch releases and then the compartment opens. Goes pretty far back to the right.
Okay.
You're gonna count the sixes? Here's 1 6.
Hold it up here real quick for it, just so.
2 6.
Yep.
$15 6. $16 6. And that appears to be it.
For police, it's a tough call just when to take down a drug trafficking network. They want to ensure that they have the evidence needed for arrests and convictions, but they also don't want to let the flow of drugs go uninterrupted for too long.
We have to strike a balance between when the best opportunity is to make an arrest and to seize the most amount of drugs and money that we can, against continuing to allow heroin to come into our community.